So there's four major components to the torque converter, and what the torque converter is a fluid coupling between the engine and the transmission. In a manual transmission, you have to push the clutch to release the engine from the transmission so it can idle at a stop sign. In an automatic transmission, all you have to do is just stop at the stop sign. There's a fluid coupling here, so there's not a physical link between the engine and transmission other than this is bolted to the engine. So the four parts of the converter are the pump. Now the pump, you can see the vanes from the outside. You can see that it's bolted to the engine, and this is a cutaway here. Normally don't take it apart this way, but I can take this apart and show you the pump. Now inside the converter, you can see the vanes of the pump, which are right on the pump housing. So next up is the stator, and then the turbine, and then the clutch itself. So this is the torque converter clutch. Those are the four main components: pump, stator, turbine, and clutch. So how this operates, the pump is physically connected to the engine. It's bolted to the flywheel. So this right here turns at engine speed. So you can see as this thing turns, and this is full of fluid, the transmission fluid gets slung just like you would a fan blowing air against the side of the torque converter from centrifugal force, and the vanes will push it out. As it pushes it out towards the turbine, which is facing it. Now these aren't physically touching each other, it's just the fluid between the two. So the fluid is pushing against this turbine, and this turbine is actually what's connected to the transmission through what's called a turbine shaft. So the turbine shaft is hooked to this. And so as the pump turns, it wants to turn this. Now if I'm in drive and sitting at a stoplight, this is not moving. So the fluid just kind of pushes between the two and actually creates heat. So to help this out is what's in between the pump and the turbine is the stator. So the stator, as it sits against the turbine here, basically the pump fluid will go against the stator redirects that fluid and helps push the pump. Now this stator, you can see, is a one-way clutch. You can see there's some a one-way clutch inside of here, some rollers, and you can turn it in one direction and it locks the other way, won't turn the other way. On the transmission, there is a shaft that is bolted to the transmission, doesn't turn. It's called a stator shaft support. It's supporting that right there, the stator. So the stator shaft support allows it to work as a one-way clutch because it's bolted to the case itself and doesn't turn. So again, four components. We've got a pump, a turbine, a stator, and a clutch. The clutch works like a manual transmission. So just like when you release the clutch in a manual transmission, this has a clutch that I can use fluid to apply. When I get up to highway speeds or up to a good speed, I can apply this clutch, because all the time this torque converter is slipping and you're losing horsepower. So, and horsepower means fuel mileage. So if I can get up to speed and then apply this clutch, then I'm a one-to-one link, just like you have a manual transmission. Saves gas, better fuel economy, all that good stuff. So again, clutch, the turbine, stator, and the pump, the four parts of the converter.